Hi, I'm Kendra Nicolaysen, and I interviewed Ashley Jorgensen for clinical supervisor for the Idaho Maximum Security Institution. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the agenda, if you will, what we're going to talk about today. I always thought it'd be cool to be a police officer growing up with three brothers and no sisters. I was in the Air National Guard for like a hot second. Made it through boot camp and then remembered I have asthma, so got out of that. In high school, I took a criminal justice class and was told by a police officer that it'd be very difficult to be a mother and a police officer, so I chose to be a mom instead. Right now, I'm currently wanting to work in the mental health field and found out my professor from my other class works in corrections and the mental health field. So I was really excited to learn more about her position and how it affects her home life. So this is my professor, Ashley Jorgensen. She's a clinical licensed social worker. She's currently the clinical supervisor for the Idaho Maximum Security Institution. Her previous work experience includes 13 years of work in the mental health field. She served in outpatient clinics, hospital settings, juvenile corrections, and adult corrections. And then she also teaches part-time at CWI in the social work department. Sorry. All right, so this is the clinical supervisor. I got this from salary.com. This is actually posting for Idaho. You can make between $51,000 and $63,000. I think that's starting out. Qualifications, master's degree in either social work, psychology, marriage and family, psychosocial rehabilitation counseling, psychiatric nursing, or any other closely related field. They prefer that you have some knowledge of supervising, 2 years prior experience, preferable, previous skills of training staff, and an Idaho license in your prospective field. The responsibilities include supervising clinical staff and case management duties, hiring staff, schedules, workload, evaluates performance, provides program design and direction, organizes and participates with groups to develop, support, and service partnerships, and expand community reentry options in the districts. Develop a cooperative reentry process to ensure medical and mental health needs are met for those that are being released into the community. So basically, they supervise the people that are working directly with the inmates, and they also work with inmates themselves. So some of the benefits of the job, that specific job: medical, dental, vision, and life and disability insurance benefits, PERSI retirement, paid vacation and sick leave, 10 paid holidays, optional 401k, and deferred compensation plans. There's a wellness program, an employee assistance program. For hiring information, you have to complete a background investigation questionnaire, pre-employment drug testing, and then have federal and state criminal background check, and including your fingerprints. And then these don't necessarily make you ineligible for employment, but they could. Felonies, misdemeanors, illegal drug usage, DUIs, and adverse driving convictions, and employee history, like if you have really bad employee history. So, how it relates to the criminal justice field. So the job of a clinical supervisor in the mental health division for the maximum security prison plays into the criminal justice program because it's helping rehabilitate prisoners. So it's not anything to do with like them getting put into the criminal justice system. It's when they're already there. It is making sure they have the support and the tools they need to make a successful reentry into society. Okay, sorry, I had to stop it for my dog. Okay, so some of my own fears with working in that position, I asked Ashley, do you take your work home with you either physically or emotionally? And she basically said that when she worked with the juveniles, she really had a hard time leaving her work at work. But through a lot of practice and realizing that she doesn't take ownership for their choices. They do. Like, it's their responsibility. She can just provide them with options. Now she has a lot easier time leaving her work at work. I said, do you fear that someone will come after you when they get out? I think I watch a little too much true crime. She said, no, that the men that she works with are too mentally ill to even devise a plan and carry one out. But she does kind of worry about them hurting someone within their own inner circle. I asked, do you carry a gun or fear harm when working with inmates? And she said, no one can carry a gun in prison. She says she does not fear with working with inmates and that she has some training in detainment if she needs to use it. She also said she has a walkie-talkie and that if there's a riot, the security guards have the ability to use beanbag guns and bear spray to detain the inmates. It's kind of, yeah. And then I was wondering if she'd ever been harmed by an inmate. She said with the adult system she has not, but with the juveniles she was hit, punched, kicked, spit upon, had blood thrown on her at one point. And then I asked her if she's ever lost an inmate to suicide, and she said that she lost one inmate and that her supervisor had someone on their caseload that was also lost to suicide, and that both cases were really sad. So this kind of goes along with like one of our recent chapters when we were talking about outsourcing with the jail system. And I threw this in here because I think, yeah, total there's 7,275 incarcerated Idaho citizens. And this is of June 30th, 2022. So Idaho, well, not like the prison / jail system is the largest mental health provider in the state. So I thought this was interesting to put in there. She did say that most of the services used to be done by health and welfare, but they're trying to get away from that and go towards private sectors for mental health. And again, mental health related, I asked, how does the state of Idaho help prisoners with mental health issues? Most of my personal experience was from TV and movies, which is not accurate, thank goodness. She said that they are provided counseling. It may not be at the rate that they need it because of the high workload and like staff shortage, but they do have access to it. Group counseling is very beneficial and highly utilized. Select medicines are available for those who need it. So like ADD medicines probably are not provided because they could be bought and resold. And then the state of Idaho also provides the ability to get GED, vocational training, safe and sober housing, and Social Security benefits. And that's for all prisoners, like when they're released. So they have the ability to provide for themselves. And then again, thinking about myself, wondering like if I was in prison, it would be hard to have hope. So I asked Ashley how she provides hope for those who are in prison. And first I asked her if she felt like people could be rehabilitated, and she said absolutely, and that there's no way she could do her job if she didn't feel that. But it has to be their choice at the same time. Like there's some people that might not want to change or improve, but for the people that do, she absolutely believes in it. So she said she tries to say everything through a lens of truth and reality. The reality is they may not be getting out anytime soon. She also uses two great phrases that I really, really liked. One of them is relapse is part of recovery. So she doesn't expect perfection from the prisoners. She realizes that like as you're trying to grow out of a life and make improvements, you're going to slip up and make mistakes. And I really appreciated her knowledge and her grace on that for the prisoners. The second phrase she always says is build a life worth living. So yeah, and she uses DBT, dialectal behavior therapy, and that that definition, says its main goals are to teach people how to live in the moment, develop healthy ways to cope with stress, regulate their emotions, and improve their relationships with others. So that would be a great tool to use in the prisons, because live in the moment, like they're in prison, and healthy ways to, improve where they're at, rather than, hoping for when they get out or talking about things that aren't necessarily true. And then I just included this quote from Anne Frank because I thought it was important, and I love her spirit and how so many bad things happen to her, but she, like, her quote is, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart." And I feel the same way. So yeah, I just put on here, I think that people have the power to change. Do you? And then here are my references. So yeah, that is the job of a, now I totally forgot it,